Hello everyone, I welcome you all in Grayscale GS and today's topic is Anglo-Bengal struggle. So let's begin. So it all started when East India Company, East India Company captured Hooghly in 1651. So the origin of Anglo-Bengal struggle can be traced in 1651. So after capturing Hooghly, they started making Fort Fort Williams at Calcutta in 1700, and in 1770s they started interfering in court court politics of Bengal during the reign of Sirajud-Daulah. And in the court politics, what the East India Company was basically doing was they were establishing an anti-Siraj clique. Anti-Siraj clique. They were instigating the nobles to stand against Sirajud-Daulah. And when they get successful in making an anti-Siraj clique, the result was Battle of Plassey. Battle of Plassey. It was fought in 1757. In this battle, Siraj-ud-Daulah was defeated. So Siraj got defeated, and British made Mir Jafar as a new Nawab of Bengal. So they made Mir Jafar as new Nawab. And after that, Mir Jafar, this man started first revolution in Bengal. First revolution in Bengal, and it collaborated with Dutch, which were against the British East India Company. So they were against the British East India Company. And to check this collaboration of Mir Jafar with Dutch, Battle of Bedara was fought. Battle of Bedara was fought in 1759. In this battle, it was between British East India Company and the Dutch, and after this battle, Dutch were defeated. Dutch were defeated, and Mir Jafar was thrown out as a Nawab of Bengal. And after him, the British made Mir Qasim as the next Nawab of Bengal. So they made Mir Qasim as a new Nawab of Bengal. But soon some conflicts were started between the East India Company and Mir Qasim. And as a result of this conflict, another battle was being fought, and that famous battle was known as Battle of Buxar in 1764. It was fought between British East India Company versus a triple alliance of Mir Qasim, Sujauddaulah, He was the Nawab of Awadh and the Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II. So, a triple alliance of Mir Qasim, Sujauddaulah and Shah Alam II struggled against the British East India Company, and at last East India Company defeated the alliance. And after this battle, a treaty was signed, which was Treaty of Allahabad, and it was signed in 1765. And after this treaty, the East India Company got the rights for collection of revenue. So they got the revenue collection rights. Collection rights of Bengal, Bihar, and Odisha. And Odisha. So this was the consequence of Battle of Buxar. So we will now study it in detail. So the next topic will be Battle of Plassey. Battle of Plassey, 1757. Let's start with its causes. So it was started by the misuse of Mughal Farman, which was given by the Emperor Sirajud-Daulah to the East India Company. So misuse of Mughal Farman by East India Company. Here the term Farman, it means the royal order, or you can say a decree. The Britishers also started misusing the dastak, and dastak was the trading rights which was given to the East India Company. And basically when Siraj-ud-Daulah get to know that the East India Company are misusing the rights which were given to them, he started confronting the British East India Company. So he started to confront British East India Company. And fortification of Fort William was also one of the causes of Battle of Plassey. So fortification of Fort William. There was also a black hole incidents. Black hole incidents took place in which a total of 146 Britishers, they were imprisoned in a very small room. In a very small room. And after getting locked in such a small room, they all died due to suffocation. And at most 23 of them survived. Rest of all got dead. This was also the reason to start the Battle of Plassey. And in this battle, Siraj-ud-Daulah got defeated. So Siraj-ud-Daulah got defeated by East India Company. and British made Mir Jafar as a new Nawab. And remember, this Mir Jafar was the member of anti-Siraj clique, which was against the administration of Sirajud-Dowla. After coming to power, Mir Jafar gave the zamindari rights of 24 Pargana district to East India Company. So he gave the zamindari rights to East India Company for 24 Pargana district of Bengal. But after some time, Mir Jafar was started to become authoritative, and at the same time he was unwilling to continue his administration under the British East India Company. So then Mir Jafar collaborated with Dutch, which were already against the Britishers, and Dutch along with Mir Jafar fought the Battle of Bedara with Britishers versus British East India Company. In this battle, the Dutch were defeated. Dutch were defeated, and Mir Jafar was replaced by Mir Qasim as a new Nawab of Bengal. So this was the whole story behind the Battle of Plassey. So let's move to the next topic, that is Battle of Buxar. It was fought on 1764. So let's start with the causes. So like Mir Jafar, Mir Qasim was also having a conflict with British East India Company. So conflict of Mir Qasim and East India Company. The second was misuse of Farman and Dastak by the Britishers in 1717. And when Mir Qasim get to know about the misuse of Farman and Dastak by the Britishers, he abolished he abolished all the duties on internal trade for East India Company. So abolition of all the duties on internal trade for British. The misbehavior of East India Company misbehavior of East India Company with the officers of Nawab was also one of the reasons for igniting the Battle of Buxar. And after all this, Mir Qasim started to give more preference to Indian traders, Indian traders rather than the British traders. And due to all these reasons, the British East India Company, they wanted to throw out Mir Qasim also as a Nawab of Bengal. And these all resulted in the ignition of Battle of Buxar. So it was fought between British East India Company versus alliance of Mir Qasim, Sujauddaulah and Shah Alam II. He was the Nawab of Awadh and Shah Alam II was the Mughal emperor. And in this battle, the British East India Company defeated this combined force under the leadership of Major Hector Munro. He was leading the British army that time. The result of this battle, it raised the prestige of prestige and power of British East India Company, and they set Mughal emperor as a pensioner. And this battle resulted in Treaty of Allahabad, which took place in 1765. So let's have a view on the provisions of Treaty of Allahabad. So according to this treaty, the Diwani rights of Bengal, Bihar and Odisha were given to British East India Company. They were free to trade across these areas, and at the same time the administration of Awadh, it was to restored to Sujauddaulah, and from Sujauddaulah a sum of 50 lakh were taken as war reparation, and the administration of Kara and Allahabad was taken from Sujauddaulah, and it was given to Shah Alam II. And Shah Alam II, who was the Mughal emperor, Shah Alam II, he had been kept as pensioner of the sum of 26 lakhs. So these were the outcome of the Treaty of Allahabad. Britishers were also allowed to perform free trade across the Awadh. So by this treaty, Britishers were basically trying to make Awadh a buffer state. So suppose that this area is Bengal, which is under the control of British East India Company. And after the Treaty of Allahabad, they made Awadh as a buffer state, or you may call it as a shield against the Marathas. They started to deploying their soldiers in Awadh, just only to check the influence of Marathas. So Awadh was being treated as a buffer state. Okay. So after the Treaty of Allahabad, Robert Clive, Robert Clive, he established dual government system in Bengal and made a special arrangement for revenue collection. So this was the whole instance of Anglo Bengal struggle. I hope you all will like this lecture, and thank you so much.